Welcome back. We are here with our Gen 6 family tree update. Gen 6 has just ended with Noel's passing, and we are moving on to Gen 7 in the next one. So let's recap our Gen 6. And you're going to have to forgive me if my mouse acts up because I dropped it on the floor. So a new one's coming tomorrow. We're fine. So anyway, just something that is relevant to Gen 6. In Gen 5, a war did break out and our king died in the war. So the war was ongoing when Gen 6 started. So that is kind of what happened there. We're going to start with our royal family and then catch up with everyone else just because I feel like context matters. So here's our royal family. Gen 6, we had Queen Noel. And Noel was, really had a good life with her mother. Her mother did end up passing and then her father married Lucille. Lucille was an evil stepmother. She did kill Noel, who was later brought back to life by her father using ambrosia. And then, the war broke out because of Lucille. That whole drama you can catch up in the last generation's videos, but we're not going to totally focus on Gen 5 stuff. So in Gen 6, we have Noel, who was having problems because her father was off to war, but she did meet with Rhonda and they fell in love. Rhonda Perryton. They fell in love and they got married. Yeah, they got married before Noel went off to war because, she wanted to make sure that everything was taken care of back home and that Rhonda would be looked after. And she made Lucille come with her because everything was Lucille's fault. And she did end up going to war. She was fighting with Maximiliano. Here he is up here. They're like distant relatives. And he did offer her an alliance in the way of an arranged marriage. And she was like, no thanks, and killed him. So good for her. She did win the war for us. It was really, really great. And then she started her life for real. So she got into programming and she needed an heir, but she didn't want to have children, and neither did Rhonda. They didn't want to like birth children, and they're two women, so genetically that wasn't really going to happen. And so they collected all of the purple-eyed children in the kingdom so that they would compete for the crown, and whoever won would become her heir. The first trial was the childhood motor aspiration, then a chess tournament, bodybuilder aspiration, musical genius aspiration, and Jada ended up winning. I probably should have actually written that down here. Anyway, Jada ended up winning and becoming the heir. And then Jada's life kind of starts. She married Pelham and then got close with Lily. We'll explain more of Lily's, like this is going to be from the royal family's point of view. We'll get to Lily's point of view when we see her. Anyway, um, we have Jada, who is the heir now. She is trans. And then she was able to win. We really didn't think she was going to win. It was wild. She was in last place like every single challenge, and then all of a sudden at the end, she pulled through. She won. I was shocked. I was really excited. That was amazing. And I mean, look at her. Just look at her. She's gorgeous. I mean, come on. She's amazing. So these two ended up getting engaged and married. We used the My Wedding Stories pack for that. And then she met Lily, and they just kind of instantly clicked. She felt really close to Lily and, was devastated to find out that Lily had had an affair with her husband. And then she, didn't really stay mad at Lily for too long and was really upset about her marriage breaking up. I mean, these two were so cute together, and then everything started to fall apart. So, from Pelham's point of view, we have he was also in the competition, and he ended up failing out in the musical challenge. He came as Jada's husband. They had a great relationship. Him and Lily had an autonomous woohoo, and Lily ended up pregnant, and it just kind of blew up their whole situation. So He ended up divorcing Jada and pursuing Lily. But then things started to get muddled between these two, where they started to kind of rekindle their romance. But, um, you know, there was still Lily in between them. So Lily broke up with him, and then he started getting suspicious of her. Now, Noel, yeah, I was coming back. We're coming back. Noel was always kind of suspicious of Lily, who just kind of slid in and was, you know, getting along with everybody so easily, and there was no problems and blah blah blah. And so she was really angry at both Pelham and Lily for the affair, but was letting Jada handle her own stuff. And um, then when Rhonda passed away first, and Noelle was really, really upset about that, but Lily actually found a way to bring Rhonda back to life, much like Noelle herself was brought back to life. So that kind of endeared Noelle to Lily, and she was like, fine, you know, I'll turn a blind eye to whatever strangeness is happening over here. So things started to escalate, but I guess we should. I feel conflicted about not talking about Lily. Um, Hmm. Okay. We will do what our plan is. But anyway, so Pelham starts fighting with Lily all the time, and then he starts fighting with everyone. He's fighting with Jada, he's fighting with Noelle, he's fighting with Rhonda. Everybody is fighting with him. It's a total mess. He's trying to tell people that Lily is really secretly evil or something, and he knows that something's going on, but he can't prove it, and nobody believes him. And so he gets in this like brawl at a party, and he ended up dying when Lily lit him on fire. So that's how he died. And moments later, Noel died of old age. So I am going to say that maybe the stress was too much for like all of this craziness happening at her party, but she did ended up passing of old age. And then Rhonda kind of went to Lily and said, "Thank you for bringing me back to be with Noel, but I do want to be with Noel." So, um, she asked for the magic to be undone on her so that she could go and be in the netherworld with her wife. So that's what happened there. That made Jada the queen. And her first act was to pardon Lily for what had happened because Pelham was fighting with everybody and he had to be stopped. And then she gave Lily an official title of princess in order to, protect her and give her title and kind of solidify her position. So, yikes. So, yes, Noelle would have dealt with everything, but she literally died moments after Pelham. It was wild. And Jada has two children with Pelham, Olivia and Cordelia. They both have purple eyes. And that is our royal family. So that is our Gen 6 royal family. Now let's go left to right with everybody else. I hope that's enough context for you guys to understand. There was a war, and then the whole Lily situation we'll get more into when we get to the Perryton family. But yeah, there was the war is basically what's going to come up in a lot of Gen 6 Sims because a lot of them did either participate or die in the war. So, example, we have Valentine Kitsune, who both of his parents died at war, and then he married Elsie. They had triplets, and he left and passed away at war. You know what? If you watched Encanto, that's actually kind of similar. I didn't do that on purpose, but I'm kind of liking it. So, anyway, yes, he passed away at war. Elsie, they married, and she basically spent her whole life alone because he died shortly after they got married while their children were still very young. So that was kind of hard for her. They had triplets, Sandy, Vivian, and Serenity. Sandy, oh, I forgot, I should change that to Grand Duchess. Sandy is now the Grand Duchess. And she married Randall, who participated in that competition for the heir that we talked about earlier. He participated. He actually came in second. He came in second to Jada, which, I mean, he was in first every single time. And then suddenly he lost in the last one. That must have been so infuriating for him. But he did get a good, I guess, consolation prize of becoming the Grand Duke. I know I have to change that. But Anyway, they have two children, Santino and Dustin. Slide to the right. Um, I guess in Gen 6 we can talk about Devin. Devin was the one who started the war with, because he got in a little something something with Lucille, started a fight, lost a fight to Gabriel, decided to start a war over it, and made a whole big mess. Anyway, he died like immediately at war. I mean, just like round one. So, sucks to suck. Um, Also, Noel had two sisters. We'll get to them into the families that they married into, but Kiara and Celeste, we will follow up with them right now. So, in the Griffin household, we have Mikhail the fourth. Yep. So he became Duke, and he tried to hold it together, even though his parents had gotten divorced because of drama. That was related to Gen 5. Again, you can find out the tea there in an earlier video. But war broke out. His mother did pass away in war, but he was scared. He like did not want to go to war. So his brother Evan actually volunteered to go to war. So Evan was dating Celeste. They didn't want to get married. Neither of them wanted to get married, but they had gotten pregnant and it was just like this whole deal. So they ended up having to get married. And then um, because they had to get married, when he decided to take his brother's place at war, he said to his brother, I need you to look after them. Like this, he didn't have a title. He didn't have, anything going that he could use for Celeste to protect herself if he did die at war. So he made his brother promise, and he did promise. So when Evan died at war, Mikhail did marry Celeste in order to, give her a position and a status before he left for war, because of course, someone from the family has to represent, and there was no one left, because Elsie had married into another family. So he married her and got her pregnant before he left for war, but he did survive the war, which was great. So that is something he was able to come back to his family and take care of her and the two children. Again, Celeste and Evan got pregnant. He died in battle. So basically the same story there. Uh, we had what was his name? Evan and Celeste had Jonathan. His stuff will come up in a moment. Then we have Mikhail the fifth. So he was kind of eccentric. There's nothing too notable about him. Shannon Siren was also in the air competition. She ended up losing first. So anyway, she married him, and they had two children. Again, a Mikhail and Britta. Thanks, game. No, it's fine. I'm sure Britta is a lovely name. I just think of filters. So I'm sorry if that's not nice. But anyway, that's the Griffin family, Gen 6. And then we will slide to the right. We have Nora over here. We'll get to her right now. So Jared Siren and Rick Siren were children of Lori and German. So that was a lot of fun there. And Jared fell in love with Nora during their teenage years, but Nora lived in Newcrest. Newcrest. So blah, blah, blah. Nora lived in Newcrest. So when the war broke out, they couldn't be together. But she was pregnant with twins. And so that was just a nightmare for the both of them. And the war did end, and they were able to be together. And then they had two more children. So that was good that everything worked out there, but it was very scary for a moment there. Um, Again, they had twins, Randall and Pelham. And then they had, I think actually these were twins too, Corbin and Shannon. So that's really something. But we already saw Randall. We did see Pelham earlier, and as you remember, the drama with the royal family and Lily. So now we are going to talk about Lily a little bit. So Lily No, actually, we shouldn't talk about Lily. We should wait until we get to the Perryton family. Anyway, he had a thing with Lily. They had Victoria. Victoria gets a princess status because of Lily's princess status. I don't know if that's really how things work in real life, but that's how it works in my game. So anyway, um, Corbin did end up being chosen as the heir because honestly, I was kind of hoping to keep the purple sim thing going, and it's really working out for me. Um, so Corbin became the heir, and he married Serenity, who also participated in the heir competition, but she did lose in the second go round. And they have two children, Winston and Shelby. And honestly, Shelby is so pretty. I mean, seriously, look at her. Um, yeah, so that is what's going on in that family. Again, we'll get to the Perryton drama momentarily in like just a second because they're over here. So, up back up here, Jared's brother Rick actually, had a lot of trauma from watching everyone die. So, he couldn't stay any longer. He left for the alien kingdom because he's part alien, and he actually ended up falling in love with the princess, later the queen. So we got the alien royals on our family tree as well. Not terribly exciting, but they are all aliens, and we have them on our tree now, which I like to make everyone related so that I can keep track of everything. All right, the moment you've been waiting for, the Perryton family. So we'll start with Gen 6, like I said, and then we'll explain all the other stuff. So we have Marcello, who became the Duke very young, and he had to take care of his siblings, Axel and Rhonda. Remember Rhonda? She married Noel. And he actually had to go to war, and surprisingly, he lasted almost the entire time. He was like the only one who started at the beginning and like made it all the way to the end, but he did end up dying in the last battle. But before he left, he married Kiara. Kiara is Noel's sister. So she fell in love with him. The war broke out. Honestly, they didn't really know each other for very long before they got married, and he had to leave for work because that was kind of the way things went at that time because everybody was trying to make sure that they had an heir in case they died at war. So everything was very rushed and very fast. So it was a lot for everybody to deal with. And while she was gone, she, was just in the house with Axel, and she kind of felt like she got married too quickly, and she didn't really know Marcello, and she ended up having an affair with Axel and got pregnant with our future queen. Um, so they were both freaking out as to what they were going to do if he came back from the war. And unfortunately for him, he died in the last battle. So, fortunately for them, they got to, kind of smooth things over. Uh, she will talk about her death in a moment. But that was the relationship drama here. Chiara and Marcello had Evelyn, and then Axel and Chiara had Jada, Bentley, and Lily. So, let's talk about this family drama that we have gone into in Gen 7, which is basically Evelyn and Jonathan got married, two kids, Alessandra and Jedediah. Axel and Vivian got married, two kids, Ella and Diane. Honestly, Ella is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Oh, I'm so happy. I was doing makeovers on them and I was like, she looks so good. Love her. Anyway, so Bentley. Bentley has always been jealous of his siblings. He has always been angry because, his sister, who does have purple eyes, could have been the heir, like to the kingdom, but she decided to stay behind because she was the Duchess. His other sister um, became the queen. It was this whole thing where he was very envious of all of the status of everybody was higher than him, except for Lily, his twin. Him and Lily were twins. And when Jonathan, who had the villainous Valentine aspiration, he also completed in the air competition. He did lose, um, but he was flirting with his sister-in-law, Lily, and they got caught by Evelyn, and Evelyn was really angry, and she was like, seriously. So she was not happy with her husband. He was evil and stuff. So what can you do? And Lily confided in her brother Bentley, and was like, Jonathan flirted with me. Evelyn saw. I don't know what to do. Like, this is also awkward. And Bentley kind of saw an opening with all of the family drama. So he basically decided this is a great excuse for getting rid of them. So what he did was he killed his sister and brother-in-law, and his mother confronted him. She was like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" Um, so he ended up killing his mother, his father, his sister, and his brother-in-law. And he spun this story that Jonathan was responsible because Jonathan had, hit on Lily and Evelyn threatened to divorce him and he went on this rampage. He was an evil sim, stereotyping, blah, blah, blah. And so Bentley was like, oh my God, it was all Jonathan. And I stopped him in the end, but I couldn't save, most of them. And so blah, blah, blah. And he told Vivian and Lily, he said to them, you better corroborate my story. And if you guys want to live too, like if you want to have a good life, I can give that to you, but you have to agree to my version of events here. So kind of they were both like scared, obviously. So they agreed and Lily is his twin, so that's why he's closer to her and kind of let her live. They have that like connection. And so they all agreed on that. I didn't update them. I just updated Lily's explanation. I got to go back and do that. Obviously, you can see the family tree in the link below, and I will update, the couple of things that we talked about while we're talking. Anyway, so Lily was having problems. She didn't want to be stuck in that house with her brother, and just everything was a disaster. And so she went to the magic realm and became a spellcaster and started working really, really hard to become strong and to be able to, you know, one day do something about the fact that Bentley had, you know, killed their family and maybe stop, get rid of him or something. So she became the spellcaster, and that's why she was able to influence the Sims around her when we were talking about the royal family, because she used magic. She used magic to become best friends with Jada and move into the castle. And she was just able to use magic to get people to feel a certain way and do certain things. And it was really working well for her, except, they had a few drinks during a holiday and she woohooed with Pelham. And then they got caught and she was pregnant and it was just a total disaster. And so she kind of panicked and she was like, I don't know what to do. So she made him fall in love with her. So he was like, oh, you love me. You're going to protect me, right? Which caused the downfall of Jada and Pelham's relationship. Also, Lily and Jada are biological siblings, except they don't really totally feel that way because, all of the heir candidates had to leave their families while they were quite young, and Jada never came back. So that's why they're not close like siblings. But anyway, so she totally ruined the relationship between Jada and Pelham with that choice, and she did feel really bad about it because she does really care about Jada. Jada's her sister, and she, you know, that magic induced relationship with Jada being her best friend is actually like one of the only real connections that she has in her life. So she hangs on to it very tightly, even though it's kind of not real, so she puts a lot of stock into that friendship because Jada is her only friend, but also Jada did not become her friend willingly, so you've got problems. Anyway, so she did end up using her magic eventually to kill Bentley. This was at a party. And they her and Vivian got together and conspired to, make him disappear. So she was able to complete her revenge and she was very happy about that, except for the part where she felt really guilty about hurting Jada. So she used magic to make Jada and Pelham romantic with each other again. So that's the part where they were rekindling their relationship. And she broke up with Pelham because she didn't actually want to be with him. She just kind of panicked and was like, oh, well, we're in love. So now that Pelham wasn't really under her spell anymore, he was like, wait a second. And he was very suspicious of her and she was not happy. She also didn't like that with Pelham putting his attention back on Jada, Jada had less time for her as well. She was used to kind of everyone flocking around her at that point. So instead, she used her magic to make Pelham fight with everybody and declared him her enemy. So her and Pelham were totally fighting all over the place, and then she was making Jada fight with him too. And I'm just looking at Jada, and she is so beautiful. I love her so much. Anyway, um, yes, they were all fighting, and so she needed someone more powerful to have her back. She needed Noel to have her back, which is why she brought Rhonda back to life, which really did work. And then she made everyone fight with Pelham, and then um, she also caused the brawl at the party where her her father is not Max. Okay, don't look at all my mistakes. um, anyway, so she is the one who caused the brawl where Pelham fought with everybody and eventually, you know, was like, I'll stop him and quote unquote accidentally killed him. But then Noel died, and honestly, that was like really clandestine for Lily. So Jada pardoned her and gave her the title of princess. So that solved all her problems. That is where we are starting in Gen 7 next time. Although, I mean, everyone is Gen 6 went on for a really long time. I think because they're already adults and everything. Yeah. I think Olivia will be becoming a teen in the next one. So that is really exciting for us. We're going to start getting a little more into Gen 8's drama in the next one. So that is really exciting for us. I am very, very happy about that. And I will just tweak a couple of those things, and um, you can catch the link for this in the description below. But also, we just talked all about our Gen 6. So Gen 6 started with in the middle of a war, and Noel was able to win the war, and that was all great. And then we had the air competition where Jada ended up winning and becoming the queen. And then we had, the whole thing with Lily and the Perryton family getting killed and the spellcaster stuff and all of that in order to land us with our Queen Jada, Princess Lily, her friend, and 3 children in the royal household. So that is what's going on there. Like I said, Jada is now the queen. Our line of succession is Jada, Olivia, Cordelia, and then we get into some other places way over. Who is next? I think Jedediah is next. Yep, way over here. Jedediah actually comes next. And then after him, we have Serenity. Honestly, I can't even remember what family. Yeah, here she is. Serenity comes next after that. And then Winston and Shelby. Does Winston have purple eyes? Oh, I guess not. Okay, I guess it's just Shelby. I don't know why I wrote down Winston. But anyway, that's our current line of succession. Not very long anymore. But we do have a couple of other people around who do have purple eyes, but that's the immediate line. If we follow the branch line, we will get a little further into that, but I won't make you sit through that. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I am very excited to, get going with our Gen 7 timeline, our Gen 8 drama, and kind of having everything become dramatic. So I hope that you guys are excited too, because I definitely am. And I will catch you in the next one.